Hey, greetings, it's Daniel, and today I wanted to share with you some Christian witchy tips about blessing your home and cleansing it. Now, I know I've been doing a lot of powwowing videos, and this really isn't related to powwow. This is what I call my Christian witchery practice. So, why powwow is a healing practice and also used primarily for protection. This is kind of outside. This is a little bit more eclectic. I call it my Christian witchery practice. Like I kind of divide Christian witchery and powwowing as two separate categories. And so I'm going to share with you things I do. And this is a very eclectic kind of mix from different traditions that I've used for 20 plus years that have helped me. I first learned to cleanse the house by using the four elements, earth, air, fire, and water, to walk the house and bless it. I don't do that so much anymore. I've learned other really great things to do. Also, and these kind of work really well with me and my Christian practice. So I'm going to share with you a few things. So one of the early things I learned as a Pentecostal, this little vial right here has olive oil in it. Olive oil is normally blessed and used in a lot of Pentecostal circles, and we will go to each window and door and make the sign of the cross in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, pleading the blood of Jesus over the house to form a hedge of protection over the house. That's a really great way of protecting your house. Another thing I do is, this is an example. This is a little bag with some herbs in it. And then this is actually for money, but I didn't want to use my actual protection one, take it off down, but and I will hang that in the home. I will normally put a little slip of paper in it that has the Seder charm on it. I don't know if you've ever seen that. That's the top part at least. It's been used, literally they found that in Pompeii. I mean, and it's been used by Christians for since the beginning as a symbol used in Christian folk magic. It's also used in powwow. I think it's used in hoodoo. I'm not real sure if it's used in hoodoo and conjure, but from what I understand, it's used in Wicca traditions. It's one of those universal symbols that's used so much, but it is used quite a bit in Christian folk magic. Also, if you see that right down there, that is a pentagram that says that comes from the 6th and 7th books of Moses, and it says, "Holy, holy is the Lord." And that's sometimes placed in a home for protection. And this little thing right here is also used sometimes, this little cross right here, used for protection stuff. I'll take something like this. This is just an example I wrote up real fast. That's why it's in purple ink, although I do like the color purple. And I might fold it up and put it in a bag like this. I'd probably make it quite a bit smaller. Or I might take a Bible verse, a different one for protection, and write that on there and put it literally right into my little conjure bag. So that's one way I do it. Another thing I like to do is I use a wand. This is a little one I found. It's just a little stick and I will make an invoking pentagram in each window asking for protection. So that's real general type stuff you can do. Here's some other things that I use. To ward away the evil eye, I have this little guy right here. It's just an eye, and the symbol of the eye helps ward away any negative stuff. So you would put that kind of maybe close to your front door, facing out, so anything coming, so it would be flecked back. This one is one that I had a really good friend show me. Is these little pine cones. I will bless them with cinnamon oil, and then I will put them around the home, asking that prosperity enter the house, and they also ward against poverty. So that's a really great idea. You could decorate these and do all kinds of little fun things with them, and they become little natural talismans to draw in the prosperity and ward away poverty. So that's something you can do. I like to ask my ancestors to watch over my home because your ancestors are invested in you. So I do call upon my ancestors a lot in my work in Christian witchery. So I have in my living room, I keep a little thing like this, a little skull this is not the one I use, but this is a little dusty for my altar. And I will dedicate, a little plastic skull. You could even to my ancestors, and then throughout the weeks or days, if I see it, I'll touch it and I'll simply use it as a point of contact to ask my ancestors to intervene. So that's something I do. Holy water is also a good thing. I like to sprinkle my house with holy water, at least monthly. I like to do this because I want to get rid of stuff. So I want to do this during the waning moon, because I'm sprinkling and asking any negative energy. So I like to do these blessings. I like to clear my house on the waning moon, and then on a waxing moon I bless it. So one is for getting rid of anything, the other one's to draw in. So that's one. Now another thing I like is Florida water. I've used Florida water for 20 plus years in my practice, and I really use it. The scent is, I know a lot of people have a lot of spiritual reasons to use it. I like the scent of it. First off, it's a cologne. You can use any cologne really for this, and I like to spray it around my altar spaces and stuff like that, because I think that if you use it enough, you begin to associate a spiritual kind of blessing to the smell. So it like just brings that up and helps bring up the positive vibrations of yourself in your home. So I don't know if I necessarily believe it has any I know some people would, has any actual power in itself. I think that it helps me just kind of, it's what to raise my vibration so I'm more in line with my higher intent. Two other things I use is I like to keep a guardian angel candle, which I burn. I keep that normally in my living room, the area. Sometimes I put one in my kitchen too. I like to just light it in the morning or in the evening, just kind of asking my guardian angel to watch over my home, to bless it. Don't leave your candles unattended. Don't want to burn your house down. That wouldn't be very good, would it? Another one I really like is Our Lady of Guadalupe candles. You can use any image of Mary. I love Mary. I'm not a Catholic, never been a Catholic, but I love Mary. And I really love Our Lady of Guadalupe. She is the patron saint of all the Americas. So not just Mexico, but all of them. From anywhere in North and South America, she's the patron saint of the Catholic Church of the Americas. And I really love her, and I have a really great affinity to her. So I burn a lot of candles to Our Lady of Guadalupe. I also like Our Lady of Charity. I really like Our Lady of Charity when I'm going through like a hard time, especially with money. I'll light a candle for Our Lady of Charity. Now this last one is a little controversial, and some people will say don't use it, it's cultural appropriation. That is sage. I love sage. This sage was grown and made by a friend of mine, which I bought them off, which I buy off of them. I do think there was some concerns about that, and I understand that. So if you don't feel comfortable using it, that's okay. There's lots of other incense you can use. I definitely wouldn't call it smudging. Smudging is a Native American practice that really is culturally associated with them. But the use of any herb is there's no such thing as a closed herb. Herbs are for everyone, so we can't necessarily use it in the same way. And herb bundles, I mean not just sage, but any kind of bundles, have been used in all cultures as are incense. Incense and cleansing with smoke, censoring using a thurible have been used in every single religious culture. So I live in America, and this grows native here, and I use native herbs in my Christian witchery. So this isn't the only one, and a lot of times I like other ones better. I sometimes will make a loose incense that I'll put on charcoal. I'll put a pinch of mugwort, maybe some pine needles. And I like honeysuckle blooms. I get a lot of these kind of stuff, and maybe a little rosemary too. Different resins I also put. A lot of that stuff I will harvest myself, or get from close friends. So I do think if you really should, when you're doing incense and smoke in your house, clearing it with smoke, you might consider making your own bundles and using herbs that are native to your area. So for instance, if I lived in, Europe, I probably wouldn't use sage because it's not native to that area. I wouldn't use white sage because that's not really native. So I don't use this as much as I used to. Years ago, I would use tons of this. I'm trying to be more careful about where I buy it off of. Sage is not an endangered species, contrary to popular belief. I've heard that a whole bunch of times, but sage is one that is not always ethically harvested. It is illegal in most states to harvest sage unless it's on your private property, because over harvesting is making it so it's not. We're taking a native plant, which is used by Native Americans for those smudging ceremonies, which we don't do since we're not Native Americans. So I definitely suggest looking and seeing. A lot of Native American people sell and make these bundles, and they want you to buy their product. And I suggest you look into where it's coming from. So I don't really buy a whole lot from my local metaphysical shops anymore because I don't know where sage comes from. I have a friend in California who I know off the internet who grows and bundles themselves, so I normally buy off them. And they just sell to, they don't really sell to make money. That's a kind of a personal thing. So I get that from them. But you can get it and you can grow it yourself. It's not that hard to do. So just kind of consider, why you want to do these things or don't want to do things. So that's kind of my little tips. I mean, things you can bring into your home. I don't do a whole lot of ritualistic stuff, like a big ritual, like I did when I was more into Wicca, although I still do them sometimes. I mean, even though I don't consider myself Wiccan anymore, I still use Wiccan rituals in my practice, and that's okay. I was, like I said, I identified as a witch and a Wiccan for 20 plus years. You don't just leave that behind overnight. But I've also identified as a Christian and a powwow, so I consider myself a mage, as you, or magician, a folk magician. I like the term Christian witchery. It's a controversial term, and if you don't like it, cool, whatever. And another thing I like to do is, my trusty little Bible here, Psalms 23 and Psalms 91 are two of my favorite ones for blessing a home and banishing anything negative. And I literally just walk around the house with my Bible praying those Psalms. I use the Bible so much in my rituals and magic these days, especially the Psalms, which I might share some more. I think I might have shared some, but it's just really great stuff for me to do. I also sometimes use the Lord Prayer. I mean, I incorporate as much Christian elements into my Christian witchery as possible because it is a Christian practice. And I hope that kind of give you a little idea of what I do for blessing my home. And again, just so you know, this is not powwow related, so I'm going to be doing some Christian witchery videos. I don't want to get the two systems confused. Powwowing is a healing and protection system, and Christian witchery is more generalized and is not tied to any specific culture or practice. So any Christian who wants to add a little magic into their lives can do this. You don't have to even identify as a witch to practice Christian witchery. This is a form of folk magic. It's not a religion, it's folk magic. And I do believe for some people witchcraft is a religion, and I'm okay with that. But this is not a religion. This is a spiritual thing that you're incorporating natural elements in your practice, and that's how I view it. For me, the power behind Christian witchery, so I'm kind of off topic, is based on three things. And the first one is the Holy Trinity. God is the source of everything. So when you're a Christian witch or you practice Christian witchery or Christian magic, it all starts with God. The second one is, I believe, the ancestors, the saints, which that's what Mary, the saints, they're ancestors. They're people who have been here. They are Christians who were martyred or have lived life. And your ancestors, your people you knew, they're invested in your life. The Bible talks about a great cloud of witnesses in heaven being witnesses with us. And so I agree with the Catholics on this one. It's okay to ask them to pray for you. It's okay for that because they're vested in your lives too. That's something that's been part of Christian tradition from the very beginning. Is not just a Catholic thing. I understand that most Protestants have kind of removed that. I would really like to see that come back more. So I do work with some saints, and I work with Mary especially, and the angels, the archangels, and different stuff. I work with a lot of the saints I work with are from the Bible. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are probably my 4 ones I call upon all the time. Sometimes I'll have to share with you. When I was more into Wiccan-based magic, I actually came up with a protocol using Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, excuse me, to each direction, calling them in. And I associated each author with each direction with an archangel as well. So use your Bible. It's okay. Oh, I forgot to tell you the third source. The third source of Christian witchery. So the first one was the Holy Trinity. The second one was your ancestors, the saints and Mary, people who have passed away who were tangible witnesses for Christ and the Christian religion. And the third one is the earth, Mother Earth, nature. So that's when we get these things like pine cones and herbs and oils. This is the actual place we live. I call her Mother Earth because she is our mother. Everything comes from the earth. So them are the 3 sources of power for Christian witchery. And I like to incorporate all 3 in my practice. But just remember, the Holy Trinity is really where our foundation of our practice lies if you're involved in Christian witchery. And you don't have to be a witch or identify as a witch to practice Christian witchery. Anyone can add a little magic in their life, and that's okay. So that's my little take for the day. Many blessings.